Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Market Outlook. My name is Pietro, and this week we'll have a special edition where we'll be talking about SwissBorg and the future of crypto in 7 different layers. Last week, SwissBorg announced its Series A open to the community, meaning that anyone, whether you're a user or whether you're just learning about SwissBorg, can actually participate in SwissBorg's Series A, which is a revolutionary moment in the company's history, given the fact that it comes 5 years exactly after its very successful ICO. Now, in this video, I'll be running you through the 7 layers that have been in progress and that will be part of SwissBorg's future, and why, with these 7 layers, SwissBorg is positioning itself to be the true leader of the crypto space in the present and future of the sphere. As we move up in these layers, we get incrementally more and more ecosystem driven, meaning that SwissBorg is really going to become a one-stop shop for any kind of crypto activities or any kind of interesting activities in the space. And that, of course, starts from the first layer. Layer 1 is payments and spending. What does this mean? It means that any platform, any application that seeks to be a wealth management app in the space needs to, of course, have the basics of payments and spending. Why are we so unique? It's that in the present, we have 16 different fiat currencies. What does this mean? It means that competitors might have fiat on and off ramps in a couple of currencies, but we offer 16 different currencies for you to on and off ramp, which is impressive, and it's quite unique if you look at other competitors in the space. The second extremely unique thing that we have in the present condition of this layer 1 is smart send, meaning that any 2 users in the SwissBorg app can send each other crypto back and forth. Any of the crypto tokens that we have listed and that we offer on our wealth app, they can send those back and forth without any fees. So if you need to send some Bitcoin, or you want to send some Bitcoin to your family through the SwissBorg app, you can do that if the other user also has the SwissBorg app for free without having to pay fees. Or if you want to send some CHSB to your friends and have them install the app, that can also be done for free. No exchange, no transfer fees whatsoever. And that really showcases the culture of community that SwissBorg is prevalent and has always dominated. How does the future look like? So each of these layers has a multitude of aspects that are in the current present condition, but we're also always looking at the future of the space. Where are we headed in the future? The first thing in the future that we'll have are recurring deposits and DCA, meaning that, of course, dollar cost averaging you must have heard of by now in bear markets. It's one of the best strategies possible to be able to stay actively investing in the space and potentially even take advantage of market downturns because the cost of each of your investment will get lower and lower. And so you will average down the more you buy regularly. Let's say you buy Bitcoin every single week. That means that eventually, even if you're in a bear market, you're buying Bitcoin at a cheaper and cheaper price. So in the next bull run, your average cost for that Bitcoin will be extremely low because you've been buying in conditions where the market was down and prices were low. This is a feature heavily requested from our users, and that is part of the future of layer 1. Other than that, we will also have trigger orders. We will have a SwissBorg card, which, as you will have now heard by now, if you're part of the Series A and you invest up to 1,800 CHF, so Swiss francs, you will be eligible to have a partner SwissBorg card, a debit card that will be in partnership with Visa, which is extremely exciting. I myself, of course, will also be getting one. And this is part of our future developments, but we've already announced it, so we already given a teaser that if you invest in the Series A, you will get a special edition partners card with special perks as well. Finally, we will also have ongoing and multi-chain payments. Now, you can see that in this layer 1, we don't just stop at on and off ramp or smart send. We have a multitude of different developments that will happen in the future. And you will be able to see from the rest of my video here that all of the layers have developments that have already happened and very, very interesting developments in the future that will really lead to us being a one-stop shop. Layer 2 is our smart engine. And this is very unique when you use a SwissBorg app, and that becomes very clear as soon as you make your first trade. So in the present, we have 5 exchanges integrated. Those are Binance, Kraken, HitBTC, Bitfinex, and LMAX. These 5 exchanges that are integrated mean that if I go in the app, I deposited some Swiss francs, I decide to buy Bitcoin, or for example, I decide to exchange from Bitcoin to CHSB, you will transparently be able to see all of the different routes and transactions that had to occur to be able to exchange Bitcoin to CHSB. Now, why is this exciting? It's because if I go on Binance and I try to, for example, exchange from Bitcoin to Ethereum, it's impossible for me to get the best execution ever. There are a multitude of different exchanges, right, on which you can go and you can compare to Binance or to Kraken, etc. And you can see, okay, on this exchange, I might have the best fee, or on this exchange, I have the best execution. With SwissBorg, all of that is eliminated. With these 5 integrated exchanges, it means that through our smart engine, you will always get the best execution possible. You don't have to yourself go on different platforms and try to understand, okay, maybe on this platform, these trading pairs, I could get a little more than on that platform, but if I change trading pairs, I need to move to another platform. SwissBorg takes care of all of that. The smart engine is really the key to the innovative aspect of how we do trading and how we do buying and selling of crypto assets. And that is already the case in the present. We also have unlimited trading pairs because of this smart engine. And lastly, in the present, we've also finally managed to release the first thematic, the Web3 thematic, of which we'll go into more detail because that is also a separate layer in itself. The smart engine doesn't stop here. There's numerous other developments in the future that go from arbitrage and derivatives to market making and algo orders to also stock and traditional finance liquidity. So we don't just stop there. The smart engine itself, how it works right now, is incredible. I suggest if you haven't yet seen how that works, just try and exchange from any one crypto asset to another. You will see at the end of the execution, it will show you the path that it's done. And it's really a marvel when you've used it for the first time and you see how transparently it's also shown. Transparency, of course, being a key of SwissBorg. And through these 7 layers, you'll be able to see how this transparent aspect is also integrated in all of our product developments. Layer 3 is Earn. And Earn is yet again another way that SwissBorg is clearly differentiating itself from the rest of the competition. So competitors might have yielding, right? So you go on their platforms, you have your Bitcoin, you don't just want to keep it in your wallet, you would like to get some interest on it, and therefore you decide to yield that token, meaning that you lock it in. You can, of course, unlock it on most platforms whenever you want. Some have a locking period, but it allows you to get yield from your tokens, which is, of course, that's the first stepping stone. Because that shows that you don't just have to keep your crypto in your wallet, you can obtain yield from it. And competitors do that as well, right? You have Ethereum, you want to earn yield on it, you can earn yield on that. And that's essentially where it started for us as well, through smart yield. Now we've way expanded that. And if you look at the competitive landscape, this does not exist anywhere else. We finally have SwissBorg Earn. This means that based on your risk appetite, based on what tokens you want to obtain yield on, and based on how comfortable you are of being on certain platforms, we give you a multitude of options to choose from. Let's take an example of USDC, for example. On USDC, some platforms might be able to tell you, obtain 3% on USDC, and that's about it. That's all you hear from it. You lock in your USDC, you get that 3, 4, whatever % a year, and that's it. You don't know where that yield is coming from, which already when you don't know where yield is coming from, that is a very, very problematic situation. But also there's no flexibility there. And that's what we're offering here, and that's what makes us vastly different in that sense. With USDC on the SwissBorg app, you could choose from different levels of risk. Not only that, so not only I prefer low risk than high risk, so I prefer having a 3% yield but low risk rather than a 6% yield, but it's a little bit higher risk. Not only that, we are fully transparent with how we offer you this risk, meaning that on some strategies, for example, we use Stargate, we'll tell you we are getting this percent yield from Stargate, and this is how we're getting it. We'll give a disclaimer, this yield is higher risk than, for example, the other ones you're looking at for the same token, but that allows you full flexibility of how you want to go into your investment journey. Are you a low-risk person? Do you not like to be on relatively riskier platforms? Then you go with the lower risk options. Do you want to stake USD? Do you want to earn yield on USDC rather than Bitcoin? We offer that. Are you not interested in USDC, but maybe, for example, I don't know, Polkadot can be another example, right? Any of these tokens, for any of the tokens that we offer on our app, we will be able to offer progressively better earn strategies according to your risk appetite, according how comfortable you are of being on different platforms. And these will keep being launched. Domin, of course, the product manager, is doing an excellent job with launching extremely interesting strategies for all of the tokens that we have on our app. And these strategies will just keep getting better, more expansive, and more diverse according to what interests you the most. Now, we won't stop there. In the future, we also have high-yield vaults, we'll have structured products vaults, we'll have real-world lending vaults, and we'll have real estate vaults. Now, I won't go into the specifics of all of these because you can imagine this would become an hour-long video, maybe even a couple of hours, honestly. But you can see how we don't just stop at having tokens and being able to obtain yield. We don't also just stop at being able to obtain different levels of yield according to your risk appetite and on different platforms, but we'll also be able to offer earn strategies from a variety of different assets, which makes us really at the forefront of any kind of asset management or earning platform out there. At the cost of potentially sounding like a broken record at this point, yet again, this is a very key differentiating factor of SwissBorg. And this is also where it becomes very closely personal for me. How I started my investment journey was that I didn't necessarily have a lot of knowledge on how the stock market worked. What was it, about 6 or 7 years ago at this point when I started? And eventually I found out about ETFs. ETFs allow you to invest in a bundle of different stocks without actually owning the stock, though. But you invest, for example, in the S&P 500, where I don't have to select the different stocks that I want to be investing in. But I know that in the long-term future, I know that the 500 biggest companies in the United States, at least for my conviction, would go very far, would be able to progress and to keep growing, keep obtaining more profit, and therefore those stocks would eventually grow. I also looked at the past of the S&P 500, and I saw that year by year, if you take 5-year or 10-year periods, the S&P 500 was always growing. Therefore, rather than deciding to invest in certain stocks, like choosing between Coca-Cola or Nestle, for example, I decided, let me differentiate by just having different index funds or different ETFs. That was, of course, not my only strategy, but that is how I started. And that allowed me to very comfortably start my investment journey, not have my money just sitting in my bank, and start with a conviction of, I know that I am convinced that in the future, in 5, 10, 20 years, the S&P 500 will do extremely well. And that's why I decided to start investing. And that was my best possible entry point. Now, SwissBorg has managed to do this with crypto, essentially. So we have the first conviction-based thematic. A thematic is a bundle of tokens. It's a little different than an ETF and better, because with an ETF, you are not holding the underlying assets, meaning that in the S&P 500, I don't actually own a part of those 500 stocks. I own the index fund. I own the index, and therefore, I don't actually have, for example, in my bank or in my investment portfolio, the list of the 500 stocks that I'm holding. That is different for Thematics. It can be considered a crypto ETF, but you are actually holding those tokens through one investment product. And this is extremely exciting. The first one is a Web3 thematic, meaning that we've created a curated bundle of tokens that are the predominant aspects in the Web3 space, whether that's Polkadot, Ethereum, Cosmos, and a multitude of others, that are the main reason why the Web3 space is and will be the main aspect in the future of crypto. Now, this is conviction-based because, as I explained with my conviction in the S&P 500 and looking back in time, I also myself have conviction in the Web3 space. I think a lot of people, whether they are users or just getting into crypto, can see the potential of Web3, where we're headed and where traditional economies and societies are also headed, where they're starting to dip their toes into Web3. And the potential's not really reached at all. I wouldn't even say we're in double-digit percentages of what can be reached through Web3. Therefore, if you go by conviction, if you believe in Web3, and if you want a comfortable way to invest in Web3 without having to choose the specific tokens that you think will make up the future of this space and of this sphere, then the thematic is the perfect entry point into that. You can diversify through one click. You don't have to choose the tokens through which you want to diversify necessarily. Of course, you can add them on top of the thematic as well, separately. And essentially, you can take advantage of your conviction and of the future of the space. Not only this, but there is rebalancing, meaning that we don't just create a bundle of tokens. We've selected the 10, 15 tokens that will make up the future of Web3. And we leave them there, and you just invest through that. We have a team of experts that will be rebalancing, reallocating according to market conditions, according to certain opportunities that have arose, according to, for example, maybe tomorrow, a new Web3 company comes out with a token and rises to the top of the space, to the top of the sphere. We want to be able to take advantage of that opportunity and be able to offer that to you through that bundle. Therefore, there will be progressive reallocation, which allows you not only to diversify, but to rely on a team of experts to also keep diversifying with your best interests in mind. This is the conviction-based thematic, of which multiple others will slowly be rolled out. We started with Web3 because it's one of the clear convictions of the future. But that is just the present. In the future, we will have very different styles of thematics that can be smart alpha, that can be fan-based, where, for example, an influencer creates their thematic in their bundle if people want to invest in that bundle. It can be event-driven thematics, where based on certain events, based on certain happenings in the crypto space, we create bundles, as well as hybrid thematics, which can be a different kind of strategies merged into one. Now, going into all of these, as I explained before, would probably take hours and hours, but you can see why the start of the thematic is so interesting, why Web3 is the perfect initial thematic to have in terms of conviction-based thematic. And you can also see how many different kinds of crypto bundles you'll be able to invest in the future of SwissBorg. Layer 5, our Launchpad. Now, this again, and I don't care at this point if I sound like a broken record, but there is no better way to show how we differentiate ourselves than through our Launchpad. We had layer 1, payments and spending. Layer 2, our amazing smart engine. Layer 3, the different kinds of earn strategies that you can't find on any other platform. Layer 4, thematics, being able to invest in crypto bundles according to your conviction, according to different events in the space. Layer 5 is our Launchpad, meaning that we'll be able to democratize wealth management, but also democratize access to early stage deals, which is very hard to find anywhere in the space. You could get access to certain launchpads, but their business is exclusively a launchpad business, And getting into those deals is virtually impossible at times. We've now managed to integrate a Launchpad by which our users, anyone interested in the SwissBorg platform, could have access to early stage deals. How did we start that? We started through SwissBorg Ventures. SwissBorg Ventures, of which, of course, I am the analyst as well, started as being able to invest in seed rounds, in early stage token sales, and sometimes also having the chance to offering that to our community, which was really at the forefront of democratizing venture capital, which didn't exist anywhere else. Our second stage, and that comes through the announcement of our Launchpad, is the SwissBorg crowdfunding. So this Series A, this opportunity that you wouldn't be able to find anywhere else in the space. I struggle to even find anyone that has done anything similar to this. Normally, Series A are just allocated to the largest investors, to your Pantera, to your Alameda, right? To these big players that don't really have the interest of the project in mind. They don't go by conviction. They go by profits, by money, by give me access to this early stage deal where I give you some money. You then make me that money very quickly. I sell the tokens as quickly as possible, and I move on to the next deal. That is not how we want to do things, and that is not part of our culture, our mission, and the vision we have. Not at all. And I think through SwissBorg Ventures, already we've managed to show that. We never invest in projects for quick money. We're always looking for synergies, for innovative projects, and for innovative teams that are looking at the future of the space. Now, what is the future of the Launchpad looking like? We will have, of course, an IDO and token Launchpad. And this, I would say, it's not really the future. It's in between the present and the future, because some opportunities will soon be coming out. First, of course, the SwissBorg crowdfunding opportunity. And then we will look elsewhere. Of course, we already have a lot of interest since we announced the Launchpad. And we'll be looking at what can we launch to our community that could be interesting and could be value add for them as well. We will then have an in-app Launchpad as well, which of course brings everything back to the amazing SwissBorg app that everyone is using at the moment, and will be all centralized into this app. And finally, there will also be a digital asset marketplace. Now, the Launchpad is one of the most exciting opportunities that has come out since I joined SwissBorg. Of course, Daniel, you will have heard by now how much he praises this and how excited he is, as much as myself, in announcing this Launchpad. So stay tuned, because right now the Series A is ongoing. And of course, I suggest you look into that, because it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to invest in a crypto company at such an early stage. And we are not even in an early stage. We've been in business for 5 years, releasing incredible products. And I think in the last month, you can also see how much we've been developing. But it's the first time that we're offering equity. And this is the first time that you'll ever be able to do that. Not only this, but stay tuned in the future, because there will be a lot more opportunities on this Launchpad, and it will become yet again one of the keys of SwissBorg's business, and one of the key differentiating aspects that makes us so much more unique than all of the other competitors in the space. The first 5 layers are products that we've already launched, that we've already developed, and for which we have incrementally better and more innovative developments in the future. The other 2 layers are layers that we're envisioning right now, one of which is a lot closer than layer 7, of course, and I'll get into that in a second. But they are layers that will become integral parts of SwissBorg's business, as well as obvious movements of the crypto space in the future. Layer 6 is tokenized assets. And as it reads there, from NFTs to real estate, commodities, and more, we plan to offer limitless investment possibilities in the digital world of tomorrow. Tokenized assets means that, as many people have envisioned in the crypto space, the future of crypto is the tokenization of everything. Now, this is an obvious move, because we can have tokenized real estate, we can offer NFTs, we can offer a multitude of other assets that right now are in the traditional financial world, but they will be able to be tokenized. And this, of course, starts through perhaps our Launchpad, where we can start launching things other than just tokens and projects that are releasing tokens, but different forms of assets that can be tokenized as well. But this is a clear and obvious and logical move for crypto in the future. The tokenization of the world has been a predominant topic in the last few years, and we, of course, yet again want to be at the forefront of that. The last layer is layer 7, smart mandates. As it reads there, AI-based bespoke wealth management directives tailored to individual preferences, beliefs, and purpose. What does this mean? This is the ultimate goal. SwissBorg smart mandates means that anyone, institutions, can come to us and say, okay, we have this amount of capital that we want to allocate in a variety of different assets or products that we have in our ecosystem. So in that case, we will be able to create a perfectly tailored investment strategy for those players, meaning that someone can come to us and say, listen, I would like to invest in SwissBorg. I see all of these different products that you have, and there are a multitude of interesting products on our platform at the moment, even more so in the future. And we can then tailor-made allocate, let's say, a percentage to earn, different kinds of earn strategies according to their risk appetite, according to their interests, a percentage to various different thematics that we will have created. Maybe you want 10% of the thematics allocation in fan-based, 50% in conviction-based, 40% in alpha-based. Doesn't matter. We can create tailor-made solutions for you to have your best possible investment structure and investment portfolio. This is at the peak and really the ultimate vision of SwissBorg, meaning that we will keep releasing a multitude of different products and developments within those products. And then through the smart mandate, we'll be able to offer a perfectly tailored solution to anyone that is looking to invest in those multitude of different products. I hope that through this video, I've managed to show you why SwissBorg is so uniquely positioned. We're already uniquely positioned in the present, but if you look at the future developments that we'll be rolling out for all of our 7 layers, it's really astonishing where we're headed. This 7-layer approach really encapsulates how much of a unicorn this ecosystem is. And therefore, I want to finish this by giving you a quick update on the Series A. Now, the 7-layer approach started when we launched the Series A, and we wanted to showcase just what we have envisioned for the future. And since we announced the public round of Series A just over a week ago, we've had 6.5 million Swiss francs already invested, which is astonishing. I mean, in the first 45 minutes, in the first 45 minutes of announcing the Series A, we got over 1 million Swiss francs in already. But although that number seems interesting, right? So 6.5 million at the moment, which is over a quarter of our target. Yeah, sure, that's a lot of money, but that's not where I want to focus on. And that's not the number that I circled there in red. The number that I circled is 7,500 participants. 7,500 people, and of course more by the time this video comes out, have decided to invest in the Series A. Now, if this doesn't show you how democratic we're trying to be and how community-driven SwissBorg is, I don't know what else will. And maybe there's only one other way to showcase this, which is that 5 years ago, roughly a bit more than 5 years ago, SwissBorg had its ICO, where over 50 million was invested. Sure, that number is fascinating. That's not the number I like to focus on. 50 million Swiss francs came from over 24,000 people. 24,000 people believed in SwissBorg and believed in where we were headed. And I think 5 years later, most, if not all of those people, will be very satisfied where we are now. So, as Cyrus always likes to remind you, and as he showcased also with this video where he enters the tram, if you want to be part of the next 5 years, this is the perfect way. Thank you again for listening. I hope that through these 7 layers, I've managed to really show you how uniquely positioned SwissBorg is and why, if any company in the space deserves the term unicorn, we are really the ones. Thanks again. I hope you'll check out the Series A and run through these 7 layers to really understand what we're building here. And thank you for listening to this special edition. Next week and in the weeks to come, of course, I will give you the general market update, market outlook that I always give week on week. But this week, I really wanted to focus on this aspect. Thanks again. Take care, and I wish you all the best.